After changing security settings, such as changing your password, enabling two-factor authentication, or switching devices, a temporary withdrawal lock is activated. This is what transaction monitoring is. All fund movements are tracked automatically in real time to quickly detect anomalies. ML address verification. 2 new services have been added for address checking. Wallets are checked for connections to hacks, sanctions, mixers, fraudulent schemes, and suspicious activity to ensure your addresses remain clean. As an update, for those whose addresses were linked to such things to some questionable transactions, not in AiTrading, but within the exchange itself, there is now a button to generate a new address. That is, you can create a new address and everything related to communication with the exchange will be as clean as possible. Hardware security keys for employees. Access to legal systems is only possible through special keys. Strict employee access control. Each employee has access only to the systems necessary for their work. Temporary access to legal systems. Access to production, that is, to the main website, wallets, databases, and admin panels, is granted only for a limited time. And upon confirmation, separation of duties. One person cannot independently approve a large withdrawal, change security rules, or carry out a critical operation. Secured work devices for the team. Separate computers for developers, admins, finance teams, and employees with access to critical systems. Protection against phishing and social engineering. That is, in addition to team training, there's also a lot of additional licensed software installed on the computers to monitor activities and to ensure everything is as secure as possible. Also, a secure API architecture with restricted permissions, IP whitelists so that access is only possible from specific addresses, limits, withdrawal bans, and so on. Protection of the admin panel and internal systems. No public access is allowed. That's mandatory. Multi-factor association, logging of all actions, continuous code, and infrastructure audits, which have become much more effective with the advent of new technologies. Because technology is developing rapidly, it is now much easier to fully audit code and infrastructure, check everything, servers, APIs, wallets, and so on, and this is already integrated. Automatic limiters. If suspicious activity is detected, the system can automatically halt withdrawals. Trading, bridge aberrations, or critical functions. Separate protection for smart contracts and bridge infrastructure. Round-the-clock security monitoring. The 24/7 team tracks logs, transactions access, and any warning activity. Plus, there is a reserve fund. After compensation, a reserve fund will be established in case something similar happens again, so that compensation does not take so much time. Now, let's talk a bit about the TRAIEX product itself. We'll also break it down into 2 stages. The first is a mini presentation that has been prepared. Now I'll try to share my screen. Let's save our Q&A session for the latter half of the presentation. That way, it will also be much more straightforward for you to follow along. It won't be some chaotic Zoom call, but a proper official event. So before we begin, let's take a moment to show our sincere respect and consideration to everyone here today. At the very end of this presentation, there will be a dedicated Q&A session during which I will be more than happy to answer any specific questions you might have. All right then, now that we have covered that, let's move on and talk about the information displayed on the screen. So friends, 1 second, a short pause. I'm going to rejoin now because I need to adjust some settings. So it's not the camera, it's just the way that things are. For some reason, it's like this. So let me turn on the camera for a little while. Let's move on to the presentation itself. All right, I need your help. Can you see the presentation? Great. Look, friends, right now we have a mini presentation. This won't be the working version. It's just for now. It's a shortened version of the main presentation just for this broadcast. Later, we'll make another shortened version, but it will be more official, which you will be able to use in your work. It should be available next week. Right now, we'll go through the presentation, then look at the product, followed by a Q&A session. So please be patient or just spend the next 20 minutes doing your own thing. If you're not interested, just come back in 20 minutes for the Q&A. Now, about TRAIEX, I want to personally convey the benefits, value, uniqueness, and exclusivity of this tool and what we have at our disposal today, together with you in the market. Something that basically, at this point, I haven't found anything like it anywhere. And even if someone has 1,000 times more resources and financial capabilities and so on, I still haven't come across similar tools. So now let's talk about what exactly this is. Today, there are a large number of different cryptocurrency exchanges. Some of them even have tens of billions of dollars in capitalization, millions of clients, and so on. But as of today, what problem does a crypto exchange actually solve? They provide access to various digital assets themselves. In other words, they give you the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency. They also provide the opportunity to trade, among other things. But trading is very difficult. So today, they simply provide tools. They allow you to buy, but there is no real opportunity to earn money there. There is something similar, which we will also talk about a bit later. In other words, these tools have actually existed for a long time, even before the cryptocurrency market. I mean, tools for professional traders, for trading, and accordingly, nothing new is being invented. So there are spot trading, futures, various trading pairs, different ways to execute a trade, peer-to-peer, application programming, interfaces for integration, and so on. But the cost to the user still remains. That is, if someone really wants to earn money, they need to analyze everything themselves. Understanding the market, identifying clear entry and exit points, carefully assessing risks, having almost superhuman discipline, and being able to manage all your trading positions. All right, let's move on. What do the various trading platforms offer? So today, I will only be talking about the very largest crypto exchanges that exist in the market today. That is, we're not talking about some mid-sized or small markets and so on. In other words, we're talking about the largest players with millions of clients and companies with billions of dollars in capitalization. So what kinds of solutions can be found on these markets? These are simply automated systems. That is grid. DCA Martingale. If you've watched the new video on TRAIEX, all of this is described there. Gridbots, Martingale, which increases the set position by a multiple, and so on. So these are essentially just automated software tools that, in principle, can be beneficial if they are utilized at exactly the right time. And knowing when that right time occurs is important. So these are still convenient automated tools, but they don't actually help you. If we talk about something similar, for example, copy trading, when someone copies another person's trades, there are also a huge number of vulnerabilities in copy trading because you depend on a person whom you basically don't know. You don't know how many people are following them, their plans, goals, ideas, and so on. And they bear no responsibility. No, they're not responsible for the quality of their work. So it's also quite a risky tool that can't really be scaled. As for various automated technologies, as for not the top exchanges, but rather various projects, let's say, which often don't even have an exchange at all. In general, they just show something, some numbers that don't make any sense. They claim that they are active trading, but you can't actually see it because there are no visible real-time trades. You have absolutely no control. And there are a wide variety of freezes, blocks, conditions, and so on. In other words, the kind of tool that has real drive. As of today, it simply doesn't exist on the market. That is, there are some similar things in other forms, but the market is spoiled because many people have had experiences with different robots that broke down, didn't work, had some problems, and so on. some negative experiences, experiences with copy trading, with various different platforms and so on. But all of that was just an attempt to be something similar to what TRAIEX is a representation of the industry today. They attempted to present a certain image and package their brand as such. But in reality, they simply did not provide the same level of service that advanced trading technology provides to users. What does it combine? Key tools. First, we have the AI engine, which essentially functions as the core engine and the main algorithm for executing trading decisions. The second is automatic connection without complicated setup. What does this mean? It means that if someone used to trade or use various complex trading strategies, they previously had to buy a dedicated remote server, log in there, install robots, get all those IP keys, manually connect everything, and carefully configure the settings and so on. This is quite a technically complex process, and even when following instructions closely, there is still a lot of human error and mistakes involved. And there were a lot of mistakes made during the setup process. In addition to that, you also had to manage and monitor everything. And besides, the very mechanism of such services works differently. That is, their motivation is to release new versions and sell those new versions again. New versions, new versions. In other words, they don't improve what they release. And this applies to me as well. The technology we're talking about today, about TRAIEX, about some basic, simple, primitive, automated strategies, next trading on the spot market. A bit later, we'll discuss why the spot market and what the advantages of the spot market are. Transparency of trades in real time, the ability for user intervention, no deposit freeze, access to funds and balance management, historical statistics of the algorithm's performance. That is, sometimes certain strategies do slip through that yield profits over a short period of time. But for it to work stably and over the long term, profitably, there's nothing like that on the market either. In other words, we've experimented with numerous strategies, dozens, perhaps 100, but definitely dozens. And over the long run, they either don't work profitably or you can't manage anything there. Moreover, you can't even see what's happening and your money is also frozen. Therefore, basically, at the level at which TRAIEX provides its services, at the moment, they are practically the only ones on the market. There are, of course, similar services and offerings, but they are used by private companies for their own purposes. They are not public. Now, let's talk a bit about Soundrise as a platform. In addition to having all the professional tools, for example, even those same DCR bots are integrated into the platform and can be configured by the user, meaning you can set up all the orders and so on yourself. In addition to these features, there is also multi-asset access, meaning that today we can trade not only various cryptocurrency pairs, there are also commodity pairs and stocks available as well. And the trading engine is there for automation for those who don't want to trade manually, although manual trading is also possible if the functions are available. Complete user control and transparent statistics. Now, I would like to share some important information about the highest standards. In other words, every single feature that a modern cryptocurrency exchange is expected to have at the top level. All of this currently exists right here in TRAIEX. Also, very soon in Rome, I think that next week, comprehensive and full global coverage for buying crypto with fiat will be added. That means you'll be able to buy it through Express Buy. P2P is currently working. You can take that into account. In countries without sanctions, people use peer-to-peer to buy fiat and crypto from each other. And we are also awaiting the final stage of TRAIEX Card integration. So TRAIEX Card, I probably haven't shown this in such a public space. TRAIEX Card is already ready for use, technically fully integrated, and at the very final stage, they will be added to AiTrading. That is, cards will be integrated into the trading strategy management dashboard, into the trading strategy control panel. The menu will change a little bit, meaning the community and profile sections, I think, will move to the top, and a cards button will be added at the bottom. There you will be able to complete verification, order a card for yourself, and accordingly simply transfer the amount you want to use and start using it. The card will be a Visa. Everything has been fully implemented technically. I think maybe not cash, maybe in 1 week they will be added and integrated. You will see news about this. Let's move on. Here is a detailed comparison with the top exchanges. A specialized research study was conducted on the external market to see how much we differ from others. That is to say, all standard tools are indeed present. Next, multi-market access, meaning when multiple markets are available on one platform. Most platforms are limited in this regard. Trading bots are available, meaning automation is present, but they exist in a different form. That is, these are basic primitive strategies. In the case of TRAIEX, these are AI algorithms, automatic algorithm execution. This is also limited. This whole lengthy process with server setup, keys, and so on is used in most cases exactly like this. In TRAIEX, all of this is automated. All the complexities are hidden within the platform, giving the user simple and easy access. Basically, that's probably how it should be. And accordingly, even the largest corporations who understand that this is how it should be have not yet implemented it at this point. They'll probably get there too, but later. The transparency of transactions in real time depends on the product. What does that mean? It means that basically, if you use simple strategies or copy trading, you can observe this. But if you use various robots, in most cases, actually in 99% of cases, they don't show it. You don't see how all of this is carried out in trading. The possibility of interfering in trades is practically eliminated. In many strategies, including even some basic robots, you are also restricted in that you can't properly intervene if you want to. The absence of deposit freezing is also not always the case, but it's quite common. And there is practically no long-term positive track record. Here, it's already been more than 17 months on this site, not 16. So the uniqueness is not in the fact that there is automation, but in how it is implemented. We've basically already discussed all of this with you, so let's move on. Here is a bit of information about how everything is implemented as simply as possible. That is, the registration process and activation process at worst may take you 5 minutes. To register on the exchange and go to AiTrading, set it up, choose the trading strategy you want, and launch it. In other words, everything is simplified as much as possible. Previously, this could take hours. Now it only takes minutes. Automation without giving up control. That is, the algorithm analyzes the market, opens trades, manages positions, works 24/7, and follows the selected strategy. During this time, the user can see the trades, modify positions, close trades, manage strategy parameters, retain access, and withdraw funds without any freezing. Spot-based foundation. Now, regarding the fact that this is implemented on spot, this is also a very good tool for risk management as it eliminates a large amount of risk. Specifically, these are risks associated with leverage, with margin requirements, which often lead to liquidation risks. And it is precisely during periods of high volatility that trading risks increase significantly. Spot trading in the ranking also means trading a real asset. Accordingly, there is no liquidation, the risks are clear, and control is much greater. This does not mean that it eliminates risk. Risks are always present in trading, always. Trading is not without risk, but risks need to be managed. Now, about the statistics. The statistics of the base robot have been running for more than 17 months already. The historical yield averages more than 13% per month. Basically, all this yield statistics, you know this yourself because during all this time you have had it installed and you can see with your own eyes how it works with maximum transparency. Now, what does TRAIEX earn money from? Naturally, it earns from subscriptions to AI robots, earning 50-50, with half going to the partner network and a share from the trading results. This is where the commission is distributed among users, platforms, and the basic exchange instruments, meaning the trading infrastructure commissions from trading. Exchange services, which at the moment are not very popular, but in the future, I think will definitely become popular. And track staking, there's also a bit from track staking. We'll talk more about that a bit later today, and so on. Track will create a new category in the copy trading market because it is not a closed investment product with a bunch of restrictions where the closed nature doesn't provide transparency and imposes various blocks, and so on. This is simply an exchange with very convenient automation, integration, and trading strategies. And it's not even just a crypto exchange, it's a multi-currency exchange because it includes stocks as well, among other things. So accordingly, it's not a classic exchange, not a simple trading bot, and not copy trading. It's something absolutely new on the market. This is basically clear anyway, since many of you are already on the platform. And regarding TRAIEX as well, I think that's clear. So what else would I like to share with you now? Now I'd like to move on to demonstrating the platform itself. Maybe this information will be useful to someone watching the recording. And so this is how it actually looks today. First, regarding the content, many videos have been added, and now various voiceovers have also been included, Japanese, Spanish, Italian, and so on. That is, gradually all the content available will be translated into the main languages. Among the main languages are Arabic, including English, Russian, Chinese, Japanese, Italian, and French. Maybe I forgot something else, Russian, Ukrainian, but that's already been translated. These are probably the main languages. Here there is both the traditional classic version, a fully traditional exchange, where you can engage in regular trading completely in whichever way you want. I mentioned the EDC bot earlier, family tips, and so on. That is, you can configure automation here as well. But this is a very basic, primitive configuration. Futures, which was also mentioned, stocks, series, and so on. So if you want, you can even trade Netflix and so forth. In addition to that, we also have margin trading available for your use. And furthermore, we provide the platform AiTrading itself. A bit about the interface itself. AiTrading. What's interesting here, I think maybe many of you have noticed today there was an update regarding frozen TRAIEX. What's the point of it all? Frozen TRAIEX, why is this beneficial? And why, in any case, I'm not going to say this is a statement. Why? It seems to me this is not, it's not coercion to act, and in my opinion, it's about the expectation that it will grow. Now, why is that? Because in classic staking, when you commit and lock up your crypto for a certain period, during that time, you will earn and receive more of the same crypto back as a reward. So for example, you can lock up some amount of ether and receive more ether in return. So what happens at that moment? At that moment, you receive the same coins. They are issued additionally. Initially by the smart contract itself, meaning the total number of these coins in the world increases and they are added to your balance. So basically what happens is that if there is no additional demand, the supply increases. Accordingly, the amount of assets you hold increases, but the price decreases. What exactly happens when you freeze TRAIEX? When TRAIEX is frozen, users and clients receive real money because they reduce their commission costs. By operating in this manner, they effectively minimize the platform's commission and thus receive real money. And at the same time, no new TRAIEX tokens are issued, and the total emission of TRAIEX is limited. As a direct result of this, the demand for TRAIEX continues to steadily grow. The more people use these trading technologies, the more people learn about it and decide to join the community. Consequently, the more TRAIEX they will eventually require. The next step is that they freeze it and there is even less of it available on the market. And accordingly, the price should theoretically rise since no new tokens are being issued. That's the model. What else is interesting? So they've added a significant amount of additional detailed analytical information and data here. Located right here, we have some basic metrics, KSC and Sharp. Our profit factor is at a very ideal level. So basically, you can analyze the trading strategy and see that it really works well. Plus, to confirm all these metrics, you have your entire trade history available for you to check. Accordingly, the trading strategy on this account has almost 80% profitable trades, which is quite a good result. This is a brand new account, essentially more of a test one, just to clearly demonstrate that it already works well. Furthermore, the affiliate system has also been implemented. As of today, it features several distinct levels, meaning that as you personally grow and as your entire affiliate network expands, your affiliate system also develops and evolves. Here, probably, for those who will be making their own videos, you can cut out all the links at the bottom. So initially, it is displayed in the simplest possible form. First, of course, there is an instruction manual explaining what it is and why it's needed. Then there are power start bonuses, meaning the first partner needs to register first, and then you help them activate. And throughout this whole process, everything that happens, each time the interface and the way things are displayed take on a different form so that it's as easy as possible to start taking your first steps. That is when the first bonus of $2,000 is successfully achieved. The panel changes once again, and even more detailed metrics are added in making it look much more professional. There are more metrics, more parameters, more tracking elements, and so on. That's it. As for the platform, is there anything else interesting? Also about social networks. Here in the files, presentations will be added, and soon there will also be excellent video materials added as well. That is, there will be various videos available in large quantities that you can use for social networks. They are added here periodically, and you will be able to use them, including for your own purposes. And now we can finally start our scheduled question and answer session. Let me just take a moment to turn on my camera for you all. So Alexei, if he wants to leave, of course he can leave. Alexei, no one is holding you here. If you somehow show your email, I think we can still leave. So, and now let's fast forward. The idea of having our own bank is still relevant, but when it all takes a lot of money, especially administrative expenses, at the moment, the top priority is resolving all current situations, including legal ones and those related to TRAIEX. That's why, for now, the focus is more on things that don't require a huge amount of money, but on what all of us need. So, and if that's the top priority, citizens of the Russian Federation will not be able to use the cards, but there are certain solutions for Russian citizens. I think you will be able to gain an understanding of this solution from your superiors, from the company leaders. Therefore, Russian citizens, of course, cannot use Visa cards directly. Is it necessary to switch to a unified futures wallet on the exchange? Well, it depends on your goal. How often will stolen client assets be stopped on Drive? Much faster. As of today, 7 months have passed. I think it will take, I can't say exactly how much time, but definitely several times less until the next payout. So where exactly can you expect to have it on hand? I think it could be within 2 weeks, maybe even faster. Cards will be integrated directly into the platform. It won't always be known in advance when it will be officially announced. That is, there may be different bots, you have them in your chats, you can track it there. If that scenario happens, let's leave the legal questions aside. If the decision is positive, everything will be positive. Can you turn up the volume if possible? But I'll try to speak louder. When are returns planned for TRAIEX? They have already started. That is, along with this broadcast, the process of returning the first $100 was launched. This is what the collective community has generally come to a consensus and agreed upon. Regarding the specific steps on how to take measures for recovery and how the investigation into the theft of these assets is currently being handled, the case was opened immediately. I won't go into too many specific details right now, but of course the case was opened right from the very beginning, the very moment the incident first occurred. There is no additional opportunity to somehow use our speculative tokens SAP and STD on a large scale. As for these tokens, my view is as follows. Regarding the wallet at the time it was launched, I think everyone remembers, it was just a very loud, long-lasting success for S-Wallet. So as long as everything was going well for us, the tool was extremely convenient. Therefore, the vision and the comprehensive plan for SAP is as follows. It's a complete relaunch of the wallet itself, and accordingly, a fresh new beginning. When we consider the future of STD, the more sophisticated and advanced the TRAIEX platform itself becomes, the significantly more straightforward and efficient it will be to seamlessly convert STD to TRAIEX. In other words, it's an additional separate project. There's no point in developing it further at this point, so TRAIEX and STD will be developed, and once all situations are resolved, they will be integrated into TRAIEX. Now, regarding official requests, please contact support. They will provide you with the information you need. Why isn't there a pair for CEST and SGCT on the exchange? To answer this question honestly, it's not there because initially, the team provided a pair with SVCT for release, not with the SGD network, so the pair was added due to a team error. The pair with SVCT. Because there were a significant number of updates related to TRAIEX, this task was, so to speak, not the highest priority, but it will be included in the upcoming updates as well. So I think they should be added there now. In fact, they might not even be available to users yet. These and other services after that will have cards so that you can buy from anywhere in the world. By the way, there is also a withdrawal option. You'll need to test it before launching so that you can withdraw cryptocurrency back to yourself. So after these two specific updates are completed, the pair will then be officially added. That is to say, the update process needs to be finished first, and only after that can it be successfully added. I can't disclose confidential information, unfortunately. As for Forex, you should probably check out the company's Instagram. There's a huge amount of information there. And also, please try to be more specific with your questions. I can't guess what exactly you're asking about. So we haven't implemented a roadmap for SAP and STD, only the ones that were there at launch. So let's also try to respond appropriately to what's happening, understand how many hours there are in a day, how many processes take place during those hours, the priorities of those processes and tasks, and then formulate your questions. As for P2P, yes, you've been able to use it for quite a while now. It's been fully operational since May 20th, as far as I know. The remaining funds will be restored as new funds come into the platform. So for those who missed the beginning of the presentation, let me reiterate. It was stated that the first task was at least to get out of the most critical situation when there were huge mounting expenses, but absolutely no income at all. And the first thing that needed to be done was to solve this problem. Then it was necessary to become profitable, and after that to accumulate enough profit to pay people $100 each. Naturally, this took quite a lot of time. That is, the next such iterations will take significantly less time because there are more funds being used in trading now, and the company is already operating. It's making a profit now rather than just surviving as it did before. As for payouts through the channels, they will happen, but at the moment I can't say when the next payout will be. Will the support staff be increased since it's still difficult to get service from them? Support in principle will also be further automated. That is, they are currently actively developing and refining an AI assistant that, in principle, will be able to handle a significant amount of complex work, both in text and voice modalities. Therefore, I hope it won't be necessary to increase the support staff, and automation will help reduce the workload and provide higher quality service. The subscription will remain in place until the full recovery of the deposit. Yes, the subscription will remain in place until full recovery. Vadim, what percentage does a positive decision select? I wouldn't dare to speculate on what the specific probabilities are of a favorable decision eventually being made. Let's try to be more specific. Who had a subscription? For those who had 1,000 on the exchange, it will remain 50-50. There will be no changes. For those with 2,000, it will be 70 to 30. For those with $50 to $500, the subscription will be 25 to 75. That is 25 for PRO, 75 for base for $500. It seems that at one of the previous meetings we talked about trading with leverage. Yes, this is in the company's plans, but today we have already discussed the risks and why was a less risky instrument chosen initially. Because the greater the risk, the greater the responsibility, and the more thorough the testing needs to be. And only when you have complete confidence in the product can you launch it publicly. So, does the company have any plans for its own broker? That is, I think you can see that little by little, almost everything has already been added from the broker. I can say that there are already currency pairs on the test server. But when it comes to the broker, it is not simply a technical consideration, but also a legal requirement. So everything has its own time. As for the specific steps that follow after a positive decision, I probably won't disclose the full details of our comprehensive plan just yet, but the format of work will be significantly revised because, you see, this affects you directly because the way that users can access the platform is very easy and completely open. It naturally attracts a wide variety of different clients. And some of these clients, I won't specify, but I think everyone understands, create very big difficulties. So an integrated DEX version of the wallet is actually planned. As for the meeting, everything should go well. I feel that the mood is good, positive. As for the future development of this slot, I believe it will be completely redesigned and reimagined. Because launching just classic products that are no different from each other except for the interface is not the way we choose to operate. Our approach is to consistently deliver the very best experience available on the market. Regarding the particular token that hasn't been released for deposits yet, we had an extensive discussion about it with the team. Most likely, starting next week, probably from Monday, they will need to switch everything over. Those who didn't receive $100 for the robot should have received it to their spot account. Will there be any upgrade or new bonus because of clients placed below me? But if someone is already under you, if they buy something, you always receive your partner commissions. In other words, you are not limited in commissions. Is B2B on the exchange available for Russia? For Russia, due to sanctions, it is temporarily unavailable as of today. You can watch the previous review video for now, as significant updates have been made to management. The robot on the exchange will also be updated soon. Our some kind of George entity of funds, and the next S, I think this will already happen. The next round of compensation will not be exactly $100 for each person. It will be distributed according to everyone's percentage share, which will be a fairer way to handle it. You will be able to find out the details later. At the moment, I can't tell you them. So regarding the issue where the balance doesn't show up, the script and deposits should, in theory, fix this bug next week. When will it be possible to exchange euros for SDT on the exchange? We're waiting for that too. Honestly, it should have happened 2 or even 3 weeks ago. That's how it is. I'm honestly curious, is your camera shifted left or right? Because on my Zoom, for some reason, the camera is moving around. It's very strange. So regarding the exchange, look, both on Ramper and Mercurio, the two providers where you can fully buy and sell crypto have been approved. All the Skyway compliance has been completed. They know their business there. In other words, all the checks are fully carried out and they are technically done. It's just that the exchange is serviced on the Singapore side, and the team itself can't enable these services on their own. That is, everything has been fully completed there. We just need to press a button. And unfortunately, for some reason at the moment, pressing that button is taking significantly more time than it should, because their workflow is built on iterations, that is, on sprints every time. Over the course of 2 weeks, they gather everything, then check it, then security checks it again, and then there are still a lot of other steps. There are a lot of these kinds of bureaucratic processes. All of this happens before they simply press the button. Of course, you can also do the presentation in German about TRAIEX. Friends, the questions are being repeated, so I'm just reading and trying to spot something new. I'll be answering the same questions with you, tension, long breaks in between. Other than wasting our time, it won't bring them any benefit. You can order a physical card, but honestly, it's more of a headache than anything useful. They would have to come, pick them up, and so on. It's complicated. That's why cards that are simply used for Apple Pay or Google Pay are the most convenient. With a physical card, this option is available, but it's inconvenient in terms of delivery. That's up to you. In other words, this will be offered to a huge number of people from a huge number of countries. This creates a load in that regard. So regarding the TRB remote, I think that's a question. Irrelevant, like how to pass TRAIEX verification. You can address it to support, they'll be able to help you. Or there is a Git book where all the instructions are collected and you can see how to complete the verification process. As for the company itself and its integration with Forex, the company will continue to interact. It's simply a matter of how many people it will continue to interact with. Regarding Forex trading, this subject will be covered and more detailed information about it will be provided later on. See, I told you I'm not the only one. It's not just my fault. It's just something happening with the camera. It keeps zooming in and out. Some new useless technologies. When they are planning to process transactions in UZT, which will happen to occur by chance, simply make sure to write that you have support. in the dashboard. The remaining refund amount will be displayed. The amount, all these amounts, all the lists, they are displayed in the company's interface. At the moment, this is not provided for. You'll always see the credits in your transaction history. Once everything is posted, you'll also receive a notification about it. Since for 3 people it will be the same as before, you will need to buy without commission. I don't know what it means. The commission for the cards is because they are verified. That is, they are official, clean, white, transparent, and as legitimate as possible debit cards. Because anything else would simply be impossible to add for 3 people for them at some minimal cost. To be honest, I have not yet received any information more about what their pricing will be, but they will be cheap, and the commissions, as always, will be as low as possible to give you the best deal on the market. But there is one subtle nuance here. Even if we really wanted to all get the lowest commissions together, it is not just up to the companies. It depends absolutely on everyone. That is to say, the more total turnover there is, the more there will be for everyone. The more users there are, the more the company will become a wholesale client, and the more their own commissions will be reduced. And the more commissions are reduced for the company, the more the company can reduce commissions for you. Friends, regarding cannabis, I can't give you an answer today about when the payouts will happen there. As soon as information appears, we've discussed this dozens of times already, the information will be announced. Let's just go through the questions as they come in. How exactly is Luminor developing right now? For me, it's a company in its own right. I think it will really make you happy. Why? Because first of all, the level of preparation and service being provided is simply above the market in every way. That is, this young new company already offers several times, literally heads and shoulders above, more service than many of the largest jewelry brands. So, in addition to the fact that there is a personalized configuration of products, besides the fact that people can choose and change things themselves, for example, on a piece they like, they can change the metal or the stone. If they use lab-grown stones, the price is generated automatically. If, for example, they want some natural stones, those stones are sourced to order, and that's also quite sufficient. They can be provided to the client in a short period of time. So, in addition to various functions like AR try-on, meaning any item can be, for example, earrings, necklaces, rings, and so on, you can use your phone's camera to see all of this, to see how it will look on you. So you can fully customize and configure your own unique pieces, and there will be services like trade-in, meaning you can seamlessly exchange your existing items. That is the sheer number of updates being prepared for Luminor, the vast number of opportunities Luminor has thanks to its partners, plus thanks to the highly skilled technical development team. This symbiosis of a classic market and the advanced technical capabilities possessed by the team is absolutely and truly incredible for this market. Even the boxes, I can confidently say that the attention to detail is truly remarkable. So much so that the packaging, the box itself, and the overall design are probably better than any other boxes available on the market today. Even if we're talking about some of the most prominent global brands that have existed for hundreds of years with billion-dollar caps and margins up to 10,000%. They charge $50,000 for 10 grams of gold there, even higher than this level. That's why the active phase of development, I think, emerged in a warm microclimate. In other words, this wasn't some pre-planned story. All of this came about during the process, so naturally you want to be the best on the market. So I just want to maybe ask a question to the people who hear the answers and keep asking the same questions, right? Do you think if you write it a second time, I'll be able to give you an answer? Friends, Regarding technical questions, please contact customer support. I'm not customer support. I can't answer your technical questions. Is the end of the trial expected this year? No, and I'm not a fortune teller either. So I think maybe it's time to wrap up the Q&A session because it's becoming quite difficult to conduct it. So I'd be happy to chat with you when there is some general mutual understanding. So thank you all very much for attending the presentation. I'm glad to see everyone. As updates come out, we'll go live with you. Have a great weekend and a good day, everyone. See you next time.